Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo. I'm back. Better than ever. Hi, nice to see everybody in the flesh. I am joined by my two absolutely over-the-moon co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
Hello. Oh, I see the cameras are switching. Hold on. Go ahead.
What do you mean you see the cameras are switching?
Just being smart ass.
You're just talking shit about Bruce right now?
Basically.
Well, all he's doing right now is he's got the camera zoomed in on you, scrolling through your phone right now.
It's all right.
Milwaukee goggles are looking fresh as ever today.
I'm
Are you happy I'm back?
not really, but
No, I didn't think so. To my left, none other than our very own Mr. Solo, Mike Palazzolo.
God bless.
And behind the computer, polishing his own knob, it's Bruce the Tugboat Venditti.
How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Welcome back. It's February 2nd today, isn't it? Is today the 2nd or the 3rd? Today's the 2nd, right? Today's the 2nd. We have no football this weekend because, we're not going to consider the Pro Bowl games actual football.
that's fucking stupid.
Did anybody tune into the dodgeball game last night?
No.
Oh, it was already on?
The dodgeball game was last night.
No, I didn't see it.
And I chose to watch Shrek on the plane rather than the dodgeball game.
I've been trying to watch Shrek 1 recently, so
They had
you know
Delta had Shrek on the plane.
You know what? You know what's horrible, dude? Is that people don't even watch that shit no more. I'd rather have them go back to Hawaii, let them take their families there, spend a fucking week there like they used to do, and actually have them play a fucking game. Of course, they're not trying to kill each other unless you
Instead of dodgeball?
Dude, that's stupid. Come on.
Well, yeah.
They're
So,
football players,
Can you
not
move your
dodgeball
mic
players.
closer to your face?
yeah,
Let me ask a question then.
he's saying your microphone's too
I don't
far
give a fuck.
away.
Let me ask a question then.
People want to hear you.
Why didn't they have the quarterbacks play dodgeball?
I don't know.
Because they're a bunch of pussies. That's why. Quarterbacks would have been firing that motherfucker at him, man.
Yes. Well, Stephon Diggs made some news at the Pro Bowl games today, which we're going to get into later on.
Why did he tell everybody he's not going back to fucking Buffalo?
On the contrary, but we're going to discuss that later on. So I can guess neither of you will really be tuning in on Sunday to the Pro Bowl games, the flag football game.
No,
No,
absolutely fucking not. No.
I will not.
you will not.
No.
Bruce,
I didn't know it was this weekend.
it is this weekend. Yeah. How was your? I've been gone for 2 weeks. How was your time without me? High points, low points, pits, peaks.
High points, not much. Low points, you're back. I don't know what else you want me to say.
Gee.
Here's my high point of my life.
Uh-huh.
Every day I leave work, it's the high point of my life. And every day I get to work, I have to look at him. What does that fucking tell you? Huh?
God.
All right?
Just
And then he persists on asking me dumb questions.
Hey, there's
Dumb
no such
question.
thing as a stupid question.
Let me finish. And then he can't remember from one day to the next.
What do you mean?
Anything.
anything. He's just an empty pit.
It's an empty,
Wow.
it's a ballet of idiocy.
Just a ballet of
I
idiots.
can't wait
Idiocy.
for Rigo to get back,
Wow.
dude.
Yeah,
I can't wait for Rigo to get
So
back.
suppose-
Fire him.
The 7th.
Isn't Rigo back in like 4 days?
Yeah.
He comes back
3 days.
Supposedly,
Monday?
he's supposed to be coming back on the 7th, but then you got to add 3.
So he's leaving.
I believe he's leaving on the 7th.
The bus,
so
the Greyhound bus leaves Guadalajara on the 7th.
bus leaves
Yeah, I was
fucking
gonna
Santa
say-
Poco.
I
on
was
the
going to
7th.
say, do we know which bus he's on? Because there
No,
is
we
a
don't.
migrant crisis right now, and I don't want to get caught at the border.
Yeah, what if they don't let him? Oh, they're letting everybody in, so I don't think we got to worry about
Listen to me. Anybody can get across the border, dude. Haven't you watched TV? Anybody can get across the border.
it. Zolo?
Al Qaeda comes across the border every day.
Let's go back to Shrek.
High points, low points, pits, peaks in the last 2 weeks?
Oh, yeah. Low point is losing that football game.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Did you do something different with your hair today?
It's just long. It's no, and I'm due for a cut.
It looks
here.
it looks extremely like I don't know, like it's very, very coiffed in the front today.
It's because I'm able to quaff it at the
It's-
moment
it's
because it's
coiffed,
long enough.
yeah.
It really needs to be cut.
Bruce would like to be able to coif his hair.
You want to know something I've noticed with the front of Bruce's head?
Yeah.
If you just look from like eyebrows up, he looks like a young Trump. His hair looks like
A young Donald
Trump's.
Trump.
Just all
Thank you.
wispy
That's
with a little bit of
that's actually a
forehead
The
poking
nicest thing
through.
you've ever said.
I
John.
know.
Yeah.
I know. That's yeah.
Wait
big
till he has to pay taxes.
meats. Any meats news? Has anybody cooked anything good since
I made the ribeye cap again yesterday for the first time since we talked about it last time. And they were good.
fabulous?
So it's always good.
You? Anything you've been cooking anything up good? Eating anything?
Not really, dude.
Not
Not really.
Nothing. I ate so much fish over the last 2 weeks. I fucking bet you I could hold my breath on.
Oh, what? Dark Lumen's not on here today?
No, we got no
Talking
dark
his
Lumen
bullshit.
today.
What's the place down there? The Snook Inn. Did you go to the Snook Inn?
So here's the story about the Snook Inn. The Snook Inn got wiped out completely from Hurricane Ian.
And
Oh,
they still
shit.
haven't recovered.
They finally reopened in like early December. They finally fucking reopened. And they got bought out during the remodel process by a bigger restaurant group down there.
Oh, God.
Chili's.
They watered it down. It's not like when I go to the Snook Inn, I want to be in the epitome of a shithole, and it's no longer like a full blown
Yeah,
shithole.
you want to smell the dead fish.
Correct. You want old dudes, the old locals covered in piss
Yeah.
at the bar.
Mhm.
Like you want that. It's not really that anymore. It did keep some of its charm, but it lost a little bit. But I will say the fried grouper sandwich, identical, untouched. Thank God. That's a Marco Island all-time gem. Best fried grouper sandwich probably in the world. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that.
Really?
Yep. And it was just as good as ever. So glad
That's
to be back.
interesting.
But
Did you go to Doreen's?
so Doreen's is at the bottom of the list for
The
me.
decline.
So Doreen's, one, I've realized something. Every time I leave there, I feel ill. I don't know if it's whatever grease they use in the bacon. I don't know if it's whatever situation they got going on with their butter on the hash browns, but Doreen's was also the restaurant that started the chain of events of Elizabeth's demise down there. So Doreen's is dead. Doreen's is dead. She targeted Doreen's as ground zero for the illness.
And final question.
Yeah.
Did you get a Publix sub?
Not one, but two. Two pub subs. The first one, I did the spicy buffalo tender sub. Extra pepperoncini, little pepper jack on top, toasted. Threw a little spinach on there because it was pretty much a salad at that point, onion. Then the second time I went back, I was having a little bit of, my asshole was like the Japanese flag from previous night's dinner. So I didn't want to go as spicy. So I went normal OG, chicken tender sub, mayo, lettuce, onions, that situation. Both were fabulous. Absolutely. You've had a pub sub?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've had
Are
this
you referring
conversation
to the
before.
grocery store?
Publix.
Yes.
They make the best sandwiches.
They have a substation in all Publix, and it's just
Yes.
incredible. And they just remodeled the one Publix on Marco. So it has like a state-of-the-art sub situation going on, and it was top-notch.
My one knock on the Marco one is it's slow because everyone attacks it.
Which one?
The one on is it on Collier? No.
The one. See, there's your mistake.
Okay.
The Publix on Collier Boulevard.
The one closest to the water.
Correct. The
Okay.
Publix on Collier Boulevard, dog shit. Awful establishment, understaffed, old,
Okay.
slow. There's one hidden in the back of the island on Winterberry. Completely remodeled, brand new, state of the art. So many fucking employees in there. I don't know how they keep the door open. Pub sub in and out.
Noted.
Top notch.
I'll remember that next time I'm on the west coast of Florida.
What else is new? Anything?
No.
You?
Nope.
Okay, so a few things to talk about today. Obviously, we don't have any games this weekend, as we've established, because nobody gives two shits about the Pro Bowl. But the coaching carousel has seemed to have pretty much wrapped up. A lot of offensive and defensive coordinator hires happening this week. The last two spots since the last time we talked have now been filled. So we need to recap all that today, and I want to get your guys' opinion on who won this coaching cycle and who lost this coaching cycle. obviously one of the biggest stories is the fact that Bill Belichick has seemingly lost this coaching cycle because he is still without a job, and they're all pretty much spoken
I
for.
will say this. It's a long way to the beginning of next year, so
I agree with you, and
this,
I want
this
to.
year here.
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Okay,
Amen.
you don't know that song. It's a little before your time.
I just gave you the lyrics.
Yeah,
You gotta remember, if you weren't born
who was singing
at that
song?
time,
That's not Angus.
Angus Young is not a singer. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It's the other guy from AC/DC. I don't know his name.
Oh, actually, he's dead.
Yeah, the one that died a couple years ago. The one
No,
that,
he died a long time ago, back in the 80s.
What's
you
his
want to
name?
just say who it is?
It's Bon Scott.
Bon
He
Scott.
died a long time ago.
Ah,
Brian Johnson's been the guy since 81.
and Brian Johnson just died, didn't he?
No, he went deaf, but now he's back.
Are we sure he's not dead? I thought he
So
was dead.
so he pulled the
Brian
Helen
Johnson.
Keller. He was deaf
pretty
and
sure
then
he
came
lost his
back.
vocal cords, and then Axl
That was
Rose
Malcolm
stepped
Young
in,
died.
and
His-
then
Malcolm
Axl
Young.
Rose sucked. And
Angus Young's brother had died.
Wait, how did we get here?
I don't know.
he said,
It's-
Long way to the top if you want to rock and
Oh.
He
roll.
said there's a long way to go or something like that.
If you want to
Something
rock and roll. It's a long way to the top.
So we need to talk a little bit about that today. The other thing is, it seems like Tom Brady is replacing Greg Olson. He's now going to take his spot on Fox, it seems like. The thing
is that actually a thing?
yeah, so Brady came out the other day and posted on his story about how excited he was to join the Fox Sports team at the beginning of next season. So it looks like Greg Olson is out. And
Greg Olson, you ready for this?
Mhm.
Greg Olson is the best football color commentator in the country right now.
And a lot of people feel the exact same way that you do. A lot of people feel that way. So a lot of people are actually upset that they're losing Greg Olson from the Fox broadcast.
Throw Greg Olson and Mike Tirico, you'll have the best broadcast team of all time, and it could last for 40 years.
"Isn't
It could last
Joe
for 30 years.
Buck on Fox?
Who?
Joe Buck, that ass.
No, it's Joe Buck and Troy Aikman went to ESPN.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why don't you
dude,
have Tom and Greg?
That's
be
the
awesome.
first. That's most of the Olsen and Burkhart games, which they did the Super Bowl last year.
I believe so, yeah.
They did the Super Bowl last year. It's the first time I've heard him. But the Lions lost every game they had Burkhart and Olsen. But this was the first one. This past one was the first one that I was able to listen to because I was at the other ones. They were either at home or it was the Ravens one. So this is the first time I got to listen to them. And they were so, like, during all that chaos in the third quarter on Sunday, they were so good about breaking everything down. This is what happened. They were like seamless, and it was mainly Greg Olson, and he only had good things to say. And since then, he's also had good tweets backing up what the Lions and what the Niners both did during that game. So that would be bizarre if Tom Brady can like be a less annoying Tony Romo in terms of like
Tony Romo's
this is
fucking irritating.
I like Tony Romo, but I don't like how he delivers, but I like
Yeah.
his breakdowns. Like I like how he breaks plays down. I think he's excellent at it. You know, I want to learn when I'm watching those broadcasts. What do you bring to the table for me that sets you apart from everyone else?
So yeah, it's going to be Brady and Burkhart going forward next season.
Like officially.
Officially.
They need a true number one because I don't love Burkhart's voice.
Well, Brady's the number one.
No, I
He
mean
will
like
be the number one play-by-play announcer, and Kevin Hart will take the number 2 spot now. But again, we've never seen Brady do this, so I feel like that's a lot of empty promise on just hoping that he's as good as Greg Olson.
Here's the thing. Everybody thinks that Tom Brady's just going to walk in off the street. I'm sure he's got people showing him, teaching him how to do this job. Because if he approaches his job the way he approaches anything else, he'll be ready to go.
He's
It's
probably
not
been
gonna-
learning this since
He's not going to be as stagnant as Tony Romo, and I won't want to fucking kill myself listening to Joe Buck. Anything to replace what's there now, I'm good.
The other piece of news I wanted to talk to you guys about. People out of Caleb Williams' camp. It's been back and forth now because today there was a story that came out and said, Colin Cowherd was talking about it yesterday on his show that Caleb Williams did not want to go to Chicago in his camp, had vocalized that to people within the league. He came on today's show and said that they don't want to be painted as an anti-Chicago camp, but they would prefer another destination. What do you make of all of this?
I'll say this much. I think that Chicago, and of course I'm always extremely low on Chicago, but I think that they're poised for a big turnaround. It's a matter of if they can keep the train rolling from the end of this past season and roll it into the next season. I don't think Justin Fields is the answer. And if I were Caleb Williams, I would feel much better. Of course, juxtaposed to the Raiders or the Commanders, I wouldn't want to go to the Bears. But I would feel much better about the situation in Chicago today than I did a year ago.
I agree with that.
And I would just, I would at least see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, I'd be worried about if I were any quarterback and going to, I'd be worried if I was Tom Brady in my prime going to Chicago, the way things have been there, the way they ruin quarterbacks and the way things just don't work out, especially for their first round picks. So I would put that in the ethos if I were Caleb Williams people, but I think he could do just fine there.
Do you still think Caleb Williams is a clear-cut, no questions asked number one?
For me, yes.
You do?
For me, yes. I could understand if anyone wants to argue it after what he did, but I see what he, like, I watched the tape. I watched the games. I watched a lot of Caleb Williams over the last 2 years, and he can make any throw. He could do crazy things and improvise on the fly. And his think CJ Stroud's processing speed with Patrick Mahomes' arm and athleticism. And I think in the right situation, Caleb Williams can do a lot of damage in this league. But that's the key. You got to go to the right place.
There's another thing about him that nobody's talking about, and that's his fucking immaturity and talking all the stupid bullshit he's talking. Believe me, GMs, owners, and players. And I'm going to tell you something. I watched a few games of him, dude, and watched him on his back, and his players don't even grab his hand to pull him up. I don't think he's well respected with his teammates.
That's the plot of Draft Day. Remember that?
I'm just telling you.
Remember the guy in Draft Day? Did you guys see that movie?
You know what?
Yeah.
I didn't.
With God,
Kevin
who's the
Costner?
GM? Yes,
Kevin
Costner's
Costner.
GM.
But you know what? I've seen a lot of that with him, period. So guess what? I don't know how great of a teammate he is. Really don't give a fuck how great of a teammate he is. But let me tell you something. I wouldn't be surprised if Chicago trades back and let somebody else come up. They're taking offers, obviously. They're going to take offers. Kudos to them. They're in the fucking driver's seat here, dude. Because guess what? If I was them, take Marvin Harrison Jr. at 1.
They're sitting very pretty.
And then sit there and come back at 9 and take whoever the fuck you want, dude.
And you could trade Fields too. You could
they're
trade
in the
Fields and
fucking
get more
driver's seat,
picks.
dude.
You can get like a second or a third. You might even be able to.
Listen, for that first pick, they're
get
going to
it
get at
first for
least
Fields.
fucking 3-1.
No, I'm talking about Justin Fields. I'm not even talking about the first pick if they trade.
I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I think you took Marvin Harrison, put him on that team right now. And then you got pick at 9. You get yourself the most solid offensive lineman you can get or defensive lineman. They could use edge rusher to go opposite of what they just signed last year. They could have a fucking real nice team, man.
It seems I've always been in the minority on this. And other than some stretches like that go like this here and there, personally, I think the body of work is big enough on Justin Fields to where he could be a serviceable player in this league. He cannot be a quarterback that goes and wins you big games in this league.
It's hard to be serviceable when you don't have outside what they have right now. What, Cole Kmet?
DJ
and
Moore.
Who's the other receiver?
DJ Moore.
I like TJ Moore. DJ Moore. I think he's a stud. But you put Harrison on the other side of that guy, you got something cooking now.
I mean, the thought of Justin Fields with a DJ Moore and Marvin Harrison, and I mean, if they could make another move at some point.
Let's be honest, dude. He's had nothing but dyslexia since he's been there because the coaching staffs have been garbage. The talent level on them teams until last year has been abysmal. So now you're starting to see them build. They started last year, defensive line, offensive line. They're in a process. They're in a rebuild.
You want to know what I think they should do? I think they should trade Justin Fields, trade out of and take best player available that's not named Caleb Williams as the number 1 overall pick. Just take Marvin Harrison, whoever. Trade Justin Fields for another first-round pick, draft somebody else, and then start Titty Badgett. Give the reins to Titty Badgett. You don't think Titty Badgett's the answer?
No.
Are you sure?
Justin Fields is clearly better than Titty Badgett.
You know what? I think we need to bring Titty
Just
Badgett
like his dad,
back.
because he's the arm wrestler guy.
That is fucking badass, dude. Speaking of good wide receivers, let's talk about one from Tampa Bay. Mike Evans. His agent has come out and said that he wants to be, quote unquote, one of the top 3 highest paid wide receivers in the league and is hoping to fetch $30 million a year. Right now, the top 3 are Tyreek Hill at $30 million, Devontae Adams at 28, and Cooper Kupp at 26.5.
I'd take Mike Evans over Devontae Adams.
I was going to say, so out of these top 3, is there anybody on that list that's not named Tyreek Hill that you wouldn't take over Mike Evans?
Mike Evans is Devontae Adams, but better.
More consistent.
But with the numbers.
Correct. I would take, outside of Tyreek Hill, I am taking Mike Evans as my number 2. As far as those 3 go.
Yeah, as far as those 3, there's guys that are better.
A.J. Brown's the 4th. He's at 25.
I'm still taking Mike Evans over.
I think I'm still taking Mike Evans. Diggs is the 5th at
still
24.
taking Mike Evans.
Metcalf, 24.
Mike Evans.
Debo Samuel, 23.5.
I'm taking Debo over Mike Evans.
McLaurin, 23.5.
Mike Evans.
See? So, are we in a world where Mike Evans is going to make $30 million a year?
There's a lot of factors that go into that, but I genuinely do believe he's going to end up and stay in Tampa.
Do you think Tampa's going to give him that kind of money? Because now the rumors came out today, staying in Tampa, that they're going to re-sign Baker Mayfield and they're going to give him $40 million a year.
Here's the thing, like we balk at that, but $40 million is technically on the low end.
Yeah, that's lower end.
So if we go, actually, let's do this real quick. We'll run over to quarterbacks here. So other quarterbacks that make $40 million a year, actually, there's quite a few. Daniel Jones.
Baker,
I'm taking
Baker.
Daniel Jones.
I'm for sure taking Baker Mayfield over Daniel Jones.
What about you?
Yes.
Dak Prescott.
I'm probably taking Dak.
Don't even get me started there.
Matt Stafford.
Taking Stafford.
Yeah.
Right underneath those guys is Derek Carr at $38.5 million.
I'm taking Baker Mayfield over Derek Carr.
And right above them is Josh Allen at 43. Because if you remember, Josh Allen was the first one
exactly.
to hit the home run.
Right, he was the first one that signed.
This is the same argument for Goff, by the way. You know, people are going to be, oh, no, he doesn't deserve that much. If you get Goff at $50 million 2 years from now, when he's on the back end of that contract, that's a bargain. Because quarterbacks are going to be getting 60, 65 at that point. They already are.
Correct. Well, you want to play this game real quick before we move on?
Yeah, I like games.
Okay. Quarterbacks. Because there was talk all over Twitter today. Is Jared Goff worth the $50 million? And going down to the exact same conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, where do you save that money and go Hendon Hooker, right? And we debated that pretty deeply here. I think at this point now we can all say, because of what he did this year and as far as the Lions got, we're all on the same page that Goff deserves an extension, correct?
Yeah, you pay Jared Goff.
You have to pay Jared Goff. Right now, we'll go $45 million and up quarterbacks because we did it pretty much everybody underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Mahomes, $45 million.
Pat Mahomes.
Deshaun Watson, $46 million.
I'm taking Jared Goff
as
over Deshaun Watson.
Kyler Murray, $46 million.
Right now, I'm taking Jared Goff over Kyler Murray.
Russell Wilson, $49 million.
Jared Goff.
So I think he's going to sandwich in right here. But Jalen Hurts, $51 million.
The number's 50.
The number is 50.
And on
I
top
think
of
he
that,
slots right in between Russell and Hurts.
The way this culture has gone over the last week alone, there's a scenario where he says, I want a window to win. I'm going to take a little bit less money. So 50. I think 50 should be his bottom line number. But I think he could take $50 million to make sure, because the cap goes up. There's inflation.
Correct.
The cap will go up every year. So I think he'll say, give me 50, use the rest of it to sign other people.
They got a lot of cap room, too. They got $58 million in cap.
And counting.
Cap
That's
counting.
before restructuring. That's before releases. That's before a lot. So 58 and counting.
It's 58.
Yes.
And The only team that I seen that's close to being a really good caliber team is fucking Houston. Houston's $70 million under the cap.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
Houston's
they're
got a
so
ton.
young, dude.
They're
They got
still on.
so many fucking guys. It's incredible.
So you guys want to jump into coaching?
Yeah.
Because we obviously had a big win here since we were last on.
What do you mean?
We had a couple big ones.
We had a couple big wins. So the Detroit Lions are keeping both coordinators.
Oh, God.
all season.
And we talked about this a little bit on Friday because we didn't know which way this was going to go yet.
Monday.
Monday.
I think we kind of alluded to this, though, that this was possible.
We did. Obviously, Ben Johnson called the Commanders staff mid-flight and said, hey, listen, I'm staying in Detroit. So they came here and still interviewed Aaron Glenn anyways. Obviously went in a different direction. We'll talk about that. But it looks like the Detroit Lions are going to run it back with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Both coordinators are staying. Go ahead.
And they brought in Terrell Williams from the Tennessee Titans, which is considered one of the best coaching hires of the offseason so far. He's going to be their run game coordinator and their D-line coach. And the goal is, hypothetically, if Ben Johnson leaves down the road, to groom him to become the play caller. He's got a rapport with Dan Campbell, and everyone in Nashville is saying how big of a loss this is for them.
I think they got a guy here right now that could do the play calling.
Is it Tanner Engstrand?
Yeah.
So Tanner Engstrand, obviously he had the Bucks and the Seahawks, and there was one more job. Oh, the Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots have an offensive coordinator. The Bucks named theirs today. I think it's another guy from the Rams, if I remember correctly.
I believe so.
And then, so the Seahawks Mike McDonald needs an offensive coordinator, and I think Tanner Engstrand's going to interview for that one. But Antoine Randall was also up for the Bucks job, and he's not leaving either. So as long as Tanner Engstrand doesn't get the Seattle offensive coordinator job, you're going to return all of
I
your
hear
coaches.
he's going to take our offensive line coach too if he goes there.
Fraley.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Hank
not.
Fraley.
It's not. That's who Ben Johnson would
Yeah.
have taken. That's who Ben Johnson would have taken. Was Hank Fraley.
So what are our thoughts? I mean, obviously it came out yesterday. He did. He was somebody was talking about the phone call between him and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Ben Johnson told him that he was staying in Detroit because he thought that this team had the ability to be exactly where they were this season. What are your thoughts from both of you? Because we kind of had mixed emotions about it a little bit.
Go ahead, Uncle Sam.
You don't want me to talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, we do.
No,
Go.
we do want you to talk.
Oh, I
Wants
just
Ben
listen to me. I'm not a Ben Johnson guy. I don't like what he does as far as play calling goes. He overthinks things. I think he should simple it down a little bit and play fundamental football instead of trying to fucking be cute. You know, as far as Aaron Glenn goes, if you get this guy some talent this year on defense, which they need badly, you're going to get this guy the talent he needs. This will tell you whether he's a legitimate defensive coordinator in this league or not. Because I think the jury's still out on him. I think he's done a good job with smoke and mirrors like he did the last 2 years. I mean, but still, you look at the amount of fucking yards they give up and the just inconsistencies on being able to stop teams in the second half, and it's just it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. He's going to have to do a better job coaching, and they need to get him. Brad Holmes needs to get him some fucking actual talent on his defense. This defense is not talented. The secondary is putrid, okay? Outside your safeties, which is probably the second strongest group. Actually, the strongest group on the defense is the safeties. The defensive line is fucking 5 guys short of being good. The linebacker corps is absolutely abysmal. None of them guys even deserve to be starters in this fucking league, as far as I'm concerned. And that's from high school Anzalone and on down. They're all a bunch of special teams guys. Get us some legitimate players in here.
Go ahead.
So last offseason was and they almost lost Ben Johnson last offseason too. Last offseason was, how do we bridge and make sure we live up to the expectations and the hype? How do we bridge from 9-8 to whatever it takes to win the division? That was the narrative last offseason. And this offseason, you're already off to they're having the best. It's been a week. It's been 5 days. and they're having the best offseason of any team because when you have continuity with your coordinators, there's a chart that's going around with all of the GMs, coaches, and 2 coordinators at the moment. And the Lions have insane continuity with all of those guys. They've all been here. It might seem like 2 years is a short amount of time. That's a long time to have consistency at offensive coordinator at the moment. And they're carrying that continuity into the next offseason, and that's huge. You get all of those young guys like Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibbs had 2 of the best rookie years at their respective positions ever. And you get them in the system for another year with Penei Sewell and another year of Jared Goff, another year of Amon-Ra St. Brown, who might be a top 3 receiver in the league, and it hasn't even hit his prime yet. Like, there's a lot to like. There's a lot to like. And Uncle Sam's dead on. There's, the stopgaps are smaller now compared to last year. Like the what ifs, this is what we need to do. It was long last year. That list was long. Now it's okay. We need to adjust our in-game coaching to make sure we're not getting bent over in the third quarters going forward. And if they fix that, one would think that even though they have a first place schedule next year, and we can talk about their schedule at a later time, even though they have a first place schedule, even though they have a first place schedule next year, they have 3 outdoor road games total. And their first place teams that they play in the crossover games are at Dallas, Buffalo at home, and then I think Tampa even. I think Tampa's the last one. I don't see any real, unless Dallas makes like major strides, and I think the Lions are going to be licking their chops going to Dallas next year after what's happened the last 2 years, mainly this year.
That's indoors anyway.
I know. I'm just saying in general, those are their first place schedule. Those are their crossover games that the other teams in the division don't have to play. There's a lot to like. Mm-hmm. And it starts with these coordinators. It starts with Terrell Williams, who's a respected guy. Like they're carrying over their entire staff for a team that made the title game. That's huge. That's literally massive. None of the other teams are going to be able to say that. You look at the Ravens.
Did you ever think of maybe these guys didn't interview well?
That's what the rumor is on Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
That's what the rumor is. He didn't interview well with the Commanders.
Okay.
That being said, that doesn't make him a bad play caller, and he was offered the Commander. Did I say Panthers earlier? Did I say? Regardless, he got offered the Panthers.
The Panthers job, he turned it down.
He turned the Panthers job down last year.
He wasn't ready.
So he got offered a job, and other teams went after him. It just boiled down to there were 3. He was the finalist for 2 of them, and he was the one that turned. I mean, from what it sounds like, his interview didn't go well. His first interview didn't go well with the Commanders, but he still turned them down on the way here. It doesn't mean his second interview didn't go well. Aaron Glenn, I fully believe that there's a black conspiracy against head coaches in the league. It's been like that for a while.
What?
Oh, I think black head coaches get blackballed all the time.
So.
All the time.
I don't think so.
Because Aaron Glenn's gonna get a job eventually. He's the leader of men.
That collapse in this last game, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it fucking shit canned both of their opportunities to get a head coaching job.
Maybe
after they seen that debacle.
But it's one game. If you look at the full body of work,
game. It's the most important game of the fucking year.
It's still one game. If you look at their full body of work over 2 or 3 years, you know.
What did they do last year? They started out 1-6, dude.
I get it, and then they both had a major hand in rectifying everything to get it to 9-8.
Aaron Glenn was still letting up fucking 400 fucking yards passing every game.
Hey, your words, not mine. The defense isn't talented, and I agree with you.
It's not talented.
I think that's where Aaron Glenn's system, bend but don't break.
What scares me is we haven't seen what he can do yet.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
This
is his shit or get off the pot year. This is his shit or get off the pot year as a D coordinator.
Experience.
Because they're gonna all the assets that have gone into the offense the last 2 years, this offseason, it's clear they're going to focus their assets on the defense. It's crystal clear.
A couple of things, because I
don't think they could do that entirely because they have too much need on offense the same way to keep it at where it's at right now.
I think I disagree with you. What do they need to do?
Bullshit, dude.
What do they need
Listen,
to do
they need to get guard. They don't have 2 solid guards.
They have to solidify.
Guards with an S.
They're not going to lose both guards. It's a matter of if they can't afford Jonah Jackson, which is fine. He's a great player. This is a loaded draft at interior lineman. Loaded.
I just said that.
In the first...
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
they can't necessarily
you.
focus totally on defense
I
because they
agree
have
with you.
needs on the offense that they're going to have to fucking plug in.
On offense,
Unless
they
they're
need
gonna
a
do free
receiver.
agency.
On offense, they need a receiver, and they need an interior. They probably need an interior lineman, and they have to worry. Like, there's questions on Frank Ragnow right now.
Yeah, because
But-
they're saying that toe they need to hack it off.
Again, loaded at center, loaded at guard. Like, you can find Frank Ragnow's replacement.
I don't know about that. Ragnow's a monster.
A couple free agents that I wanted to talk about because this seems like it's going to be a very good defensive free agent class, and I wanted to talk about some fits and see if you guys thought they'd be here. Obviously, number one on the list is Chris Jones. They don't know if he's going to stay in Kansas City.
He ain't going nowhere.
They don't know. Well,
I'll
they've
bet he
been-
does.
I bet he
He's the
does
heart
too.
and soul of that team.
I'll
They
bet
have
he
been
goes
so
somewhere.
You think if he
hesitant.
wins the Super Bowl, he leaves?
Yeah,
I think he leaves no matter
I think
what.
he's gone no matter what.
Really?
Yeah,
After re-signing?
he re-signed
was a
for
one-year
1
deal.
year.
They didn't want
It
to
was
pay
1
him.
year.
I think he's going to be gone. Now, I think the money that he's going to command is where this is going to get difficult.
He's going to want $30 million.
33 to 35 million. He's going to want to be the highest paid defensive tackle in football. And he's probably deserving of it.
I think he's the best interior D lineman. In
Would
football.
you have an issue with him coming?
Who puts out the money to get him?
Well,
There's a team that's linked to him pretty frequently, and it happens to be the Detroit Lions. If you could,
I know. That's why.
it's the same thing we went through last offseason when they were linked to all these guys because they have the cap space.
Right.
I wouldn't pay the $30 million for 29-year-old Chris Jones. You need a good player to put next to McNeil. You don't need Chris Jones. And that's not this organization's MO is to overspend on
Let
Chris
me
Jones.
ask you a question. You put him next to Chris Jones, does that make them fucking dangerous next year?
Oh, 100%.
Defensively?
But there's
Does
a
that
guy.
help Aaron Glenn in that bullshit secondary?
There's a guy he's going to get to right now who was the second best D tackle in the league this year and who put up absurd sack numbers for an interior lineman, like almost broke the sack record for an interior lineman. Can you say his name?
Justin Mitabuke.
Justin Matabike from the Baltimore
Ravens?
Ravens, who was
Takes
the best
Baltimore's
pass
gonna let him
rushing.
get away?
They have a lot of issues.
They have.
Patrick Queen's up.
That's going to be their. They're going to have to choose between these two guys.
I
And-
would rather have Patrick Quinn.
Right.
And they got to pay the other guys. Kyle Hamilton, oh no, that's next year. He'd be due
next
for his raise.
Couple years on him.
But,
But-
they're
but
saying
they're
his,
corners.
his target number is between 20 and 22 million.
I would totally pay $20 million for 2 or 3 years of Justin Matabike. Totally.
And you save.
I don't know. I would still take Chris Jones over here.
Well, yeah, of
I think
course.
Chris Jones is
Of
Yeah, but-
course.
head and shoulders better than. Listen, the reason why Metabike has such a good fucking year is because they have other pieces on that defense that allow him to do what he's doing. You have to account for more than just him.
Can I ask you a question
Go
now,
ahead.
though? Would you rather have Chris Jones or would you rather have Antoine Winfield, who's a safety, and Metabike?
Let me ask you a question. Whose defensive line is better? Baltimore's or fucking Kansas City's?
Baltimore.
Just answered your own question.
Baltimore.
And
On,
Chris Jones is a monster.
on
and
tape,
he's the only monster on that defense.
there's no better all-around defensive tackle
only
in
monster
football.
on that defense, bud.
There's no better like it's a joy to watch. And next week I challenge all of you when the Chiefs are on defense, just watch Chris Jones. It's a pleasure.
I do watch.
It's so good to watch him.
I would love
but-
to see him here.
The Lions don't need Chris Jones. They need a pass rushing interior lineman to pair with McNeil, and that's where Matabike comes in. He literally almost broke the sack record for interior linemen this year. That's how good he is, and he could fit in on this line, in my opinion. That's like if I'm spending money on a free agent D tackle, it's Matabike. It's not Chris Jones. But don't get me wrong.
I'm
Chris
spending
Jones ended up
$40,
here to be
$50
great.
million. I'm taking the best guy out there. I'm not taking the second
Yeah,
best
but
guy.
you're
the
taking him.
best.
You're taking him at an almost $12 million discount.
What's $12 million?
Antoine Winfield.
You're going to win a Super Bowl. What's $12 million?
Well, you're going to lose Gardner Johnson. That's why I bring this
I'm
up.
not worried about Gardner
I don't-
Johnson.
I
They
don't
got
know.
guys there already.
I don't know. So I was really disappointed on Sunday, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked if the Lions and C.J. Gardner-Johnson look at each other and say, let's run it back because we missed the full year and we don't know. That's my opinion on that. I'm indifferent if he leaves. I'm okay if he leaves.
Would you rather them give him a long-term contract or somebody like Antoine Winfield?
I don't want either of those players. I love Antoine Winfield, but
I do too.
I don't want to see either of those players get long-term contracts because I love our safeties. And Brian Branch is the heir apparent to
Our
C.J.
safeties are good enough to
Gardner-Johnson.
where you don't need
you
to
know?
bring them guys.
And this is
That's
another
not
draft.
where they don't need safety, period.
They don't. But if you lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you can make a case they need a safety. And if that's the case, this draft,
See, I don't think you do.
this draft is loaded.
You still have guys that are here. That Melifonte kid, he's better than fucking C.J. Gardner-Johnson is anyway.
It's going to go Branch, Melifonwu, and then Kirby Joseph.
Correct. And you
Tracy
still have
Walker's-
Tracy Walker.
I think he's done.
We don't know that for sure.
No, I think he's going to ask for a trade or they're going to release him
Okay.
because that's not one of their
Goodbye.
guys. And
Goodbye.
he was a healthy scratch the whole back half of the year.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Were we on the coaching carousel? How the hell did we get into
Well, we're just
We'll go
listen,
back to
we got no
coaching.
games. We're gonna go back to coaching. Edge rushers.
I was just curious.
Edge rushers.
Motherfucker. What?
I know you think that they need another edge rusher, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Best ones available. Jacksonville Jaguars, Josh Allen.
No.
He's the most likely to leave, in my opinion. On this
I agree
list.
too.
I don't know if the Lions are going
No.
to take a flyer on him or should take a flyer on him, but on this list that you're going to name, this is the one that's going to actually end up on a new team. Is Josh Allen?
Brian Burns.
Brian
He's
Burns.
not going
He's going to
anywhere.
get tagged. They've had absurd offers for Brian Burns and they kept him. They're not going to give up on him. They're going to franchise tag him.
He's not going anywhere.
Now you can make a phone call on Brian Burns.
I think you'd have to, right?
You can make a phone call, but I think he's ultimately going to get tagged.
Daniel Hunter.
That's the one I want.
I would pay for Danielle Hunter if you can get him at a reasonable rate. If you can get him between 15 and 20 million, boom, that's your guy.
Love to put him opposite Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Then the problem is in the middle. But if you could get either this Matabuke kid or fucking whatever, dude.
Well,
you've already-
Whatever they don't get in free agency or via
Right.
trade, they can draft. This is a really good draft
Right.
for interior linemen.
Yeah.
It's not a good pass rusher draft.
I missed the name on interior lineman. Christian Wilkins, free
Oh,
agent.
fuck.
No,
I would love to have Christian Wood.
I'm not into it.
You take Metabuke over him?
Matabuke and Chris Jones.
I
I'd
like
say.
Christian Wilkins is a motherfucker, dude.
He's not the. He's
very good.
he is good and he's a good leader and he's
What
a
I
good
like
locker room
about
guy.
him is he plays the run as well as and he's a good pass rusher.
We don't need guys to play the run. We need the pass rusher.
What did I just say?
We need the pass
He's as
rusher.
good at rushing the passer as he is at stopping the run.
Fair.
All he does is make plays. If you watch the Dolphins defense, he's always the one making the plays at the line of scrimmage.
My problem with
Or behind
Wilkins is he's going to come in at a higher clip than Matabuke, and I think
Probably.
Matabuke is a better
He's
player.
projected to
He's
come in
younger, and he's got the numbers to go with him.
You said that one of the needs was on offense was another wide receiver. So, as far as wide receivers go, T. Higgins is a free agent.
He's going to stay in Cincinnati some
He ain't
way,
going
somehow.
nowhere, dude.
Do you think he'll be?
They're going to give him whatever he
Yeah.
wants.
Another tag situation. They'll pay him.
Michael Pittman. And for some reason, when I close my eyes, I can see him in a line.
That's sexy.
That's because he's already in a blue jersey.
Michael Pittman is sexy. And I know the other guys on the list that you're going to name, and Michael Pittman is the one that makes the most sense. And he's the one that would come in at the lowest cost. You're probably sacrificing Josh Reynolds at that point. If you get Michael Pittman,
Would you do that?
I probably would, yeah.
Well, because it's an obvious upgrade. I mean, you'd be dumb not to.
Mike Evans.
He ain't going.
I don't want to pay the price.
I don't think he's
going
leaving
anywhere.
Tampa.
I agree with you, and I don't want to pay it. I think he's well earned the 25 to 35 million, whatever he's going to get in that window. And
You have to ask Jared
I don't
Goff
wanna
if
pay
he
that.
would want somebody like him.
He'd rather probably.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Goff can get him the ball downfield, to be honest with you. I don't think he got the arm.
Calvin Ridley.
No.
I think he's going to be on a new team. I'm probably not paying him. It depends on his number. I think he'd be great. I think he'd be outstanding here, but it depends on his number, and I think his number's going to
The
be
problem with him is you already got a guy like that. You got Khalif Raymond. He's your Ridley type guy.
They need tall though.
They need
They
a
need
big
6'2",
body,
6'3", stretch the
6'4".
field. in
What about
double
Hollywood Brown?
coverage.
No.
You're in the ballpark, and they almost traded for him, if I remember correctly.
That's we're linked to Hollywood Brown already.
Okay.
How tall is Hollywood Brown?
Let me find out. Hold on.
He's not big, dude. He's small.
He's not, I don't think he is a very big guy.
Amon Ross St. Brown's
5'10", 181
Yeah.
pounds.
No,
I just told you. Amon
can
Ross
draft-
St. Brown's bigger than him.
You can draft a 5'10" receiver in the draft. at that
And
point.
Hollywood Brown doesn't fit the culture here at all.
I think he stays
Now,
in
remember,
Arizona.
they're culture guys.
I think Hollywood Brown stays in Arizona.
I think he's a good fit there.
Yeah.
One other guy that somehow got linked here today was L'Jarius Sneed.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie.
Hell
If
yeah.
you're gonna throw the Brinks truck at somebody, why not him?
My problem is he's going to come in at a high clip as well.
Oh, it's gonna be a fucking high clip.
Who?
L'Jarius
Sneed
Sneed.
from the Chiefs.
The guy I take every year in fantasy and you guys make fun of me.
Clear cut number one corner that would come in here and immediately make an impact. I think that if you're gonna throw the Brinks truck at somebody, listen, the secondary was pitiful. I think that I really think that would be the guy I would
Who else is there?
go for. As far as corners go, Jalen Johnson from the Bears.
He's going to resign.
Yeah.
They're not going
He ain't leaving. He's their best corner. He's nice too, though. I like.
very, very good player.
Kendall Fuller.
No.
No.
We're over that one.
Well,
I
I,
mean-
just think he's had his best play has been behind him.
They need a lockdown. I think they make a trade.
Kyle Duggar.
I'll
Out
call
there
the
with the double
Jets
tap
right
safety
now.
corner.
I'll say, hey, that Sauce Gardner guy.
No,
give
he
you a
ain't
draft
going
pick.
nowhere, dude.
That's what I'm just
that,
telling you.
That
Make
kid
a
right
trade.
there is a mainstay. He'll be a fucking Jet
Awuzie.
for life.
What about Awuzie?
No.
Doesn't realistically outside of Johnson and Sneed, those are your two clear cut number
You
one.
got to
corners
address.
that are available.
You got to address corner in the draft because you can go and get your guy in the draft, and we know what they like. They want a physical corner that can go do some run stopping, and they're going to want someone that's tall, and they're going to want someone with ball skills. So you don't have Kindle Vildor dropping balls off his face mask. They're going to want someone with ball skills.
Stephon Gilmore's also available, but
Give me flash.
Now that's something I could see.
yeah, a 1 year to him.
A 1 year, he comes in, he's here with his brother.
Yeah.
I could totally see that. Again, depends on the price. But Stephon Gilmore, once Trayvon Diggs went out, Gilmore had a really good back half of the year for Dallas, and he had
Yes, he did.
the picks to go with it. Can see that.
Do we have any interest in Chase Young now?
No, all good,
Why should we?
all set.
We didn't take him for a bullshit third round pick. Why not? That you would have got back.
Well, now you have the chance.
Doesn't make any fucking sense now.
I'm all set on Chase Young.
Now you're gonna
I-
have to give more than a 1 year deal.
I buy all of the narratives now too. After watching him last week and watching him the week before that, I buy in.
I don't think he did a bad job either week, to be honest with you.
He was bad both weeks. There's
I don't think so.
compilations of him giving up on plays in both
He
of
was
those
not
games.
living up to the hype at all.
Yeah.
One of the other guys that's
You don't think he knew he was out of there? He's out of there at the end of the year. He knew.
a couple other guys
Gregory.
who are currently linked to the Lions is Josh Uche.
My problem with Josh Uche is that's James Houston. He's not an every down D end. He's a third down. Let me, put some wings on my back and let me get to the quarterback type of D end. And I want an every down D. I want Daniil Hunter. He's the one that you get a 2-year deal to bridge you through these young contracts. Go ahead.
Gabe Davis.
No.
Why?
Don't know. But Gabe
Free
Davis
agent?
linked.
No.
He's a free agent.
It's
The
not
free
the
agent.
wide receiver I'm looking for. I'm looking for tall.
Gabe Davis is huge, dude. Guy's like 6'4", dude.
Is he?
Yeah, dude.
Hold on, let's take a peek.
He's a big motherfucker.
Gabe Davis, 24 years old.
That's all he is?
He's 24.
I thought he was older than that.
Free agent. He's 6'3", 225.
Maybe. Okay.
Big motherfucker, dude.
Okay. He's made some big
He
catches
makes
before.
everybody else look fucking small when he's on the field.
Yeah, fair.
The problem with
Fair.
Gabe Davis is the inconsistency.
Well,
Yes,
you can't blame Gabe Davis for all that either. The problem is he has an inconsistent quarterback. That I've seen that guy wide open and not get the ball thrown to him. And that's quite a few people there in Buffalo.
Unless there's something
Those guys
we're
that
not
are-
thinking of.
What is that little group you got?
The
little
Arabs.
group up there?
Oh, the Yak guys. Oh,
The Yak guys will tell you
Hey,
that fucking Gabe Davis
two of them
opened on
stepped
every
down.
play.
Mike actually stepped down.
Yeah,
from
I
the
saw
Yak.
that today. Yeah.
So congrats to Mike. I don't know what you're doing next, but good
Uh,
for you.
Pursuing photography. Good for him. And
Good for you.
sure that Nico will carry the torch up there very
Yeah.
nicely.
Nico's strong.
Speaking of the Bills wide receivers, so Diggs was asked at the Pro Bowl games today what his outlook was for the future in Buffalo, if he wanted to be there, if there was any truth behind the rumors of him and Josh Allen having any sort of animosity towards one another. And
Did
when
tell
he
the
was
truth?
asked if he was ready to move forward with the Bills, he said, "I'm ready to go no matter which way it goes." Diggs and his camp have both expressed their commitment to the Bills, to Bills higher-ups, and they've continued to have the same rhetoric at the Pro Bowl games that he is going to be a Buffalo Bill for the foreseeable future. Do we think this is bullshit?
Yes.
Why?
Because the way that ended last year and the way he fucking stormed off the field, I was surprised he would even conduct that interview, to be honest with you.
I'm
do you
all
think?
I'm all set on Buffalo. I think it's just all trending in the wrong direction. It's been trending in the wrong direction. I don't know why I got away from what I was predicting in the summer. I just bought in that they won the division, but that was really more about the Dolphins' collapse than the Bills playing well. You know, I don't like the new Josh Allen and the Joe Barry offense, and we're going to run the ball, and I don't think Buffalo's it.
Do we think he stays?
Right now, yes, because who would want his contract?
He's still under contract with them?
Yeah.
What's he got, 1 more year left?
And it's that it's the big money deal too.
Yeah,
I think he stays because his contract is so abysmal. Unless there's a scenario where they buy him out, like I don't know.
They owe him. This can't be right. Did they deferred some of his money? Next year he counts for $28.5 million against the cap.
Hey, he might be a cap casualty.
Yeah. It would fuck them though.
No, they can't. So
the
Why?
dead
What's
money.
guaranteed?
The
dead money is
probably
$32 million.
Oh, dead money's 32?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean you're right. At this point, does anybody even offer anything up for him with that kind of cap number?
28 million?
Yeah, so he'll be right. He's right there under Tariq and everybody else, which makes sense. But I mean, all right, let's move into this coaching carousel now. Do you want to start with coordinators or do we want to start with head coaches? I say we start with the coordinators and then finish with the head coaches.
Sure.
Or
well, I mean, if there's a job that requires both, you know, or a team that requires both, we'll just do it all.
you know what? I'm retracting what I said. I think we should start with the head coaches. Yeah, I think it's just
following your
I don't
lead.
know what's going on here? All right. Obviously, the last two remaining openings were Seattle and Washington. Seattle goes with Mike McDonald. Did that happen on Monday before our show?
I think it happened Tuesday.
It might have been Tuesday. What do we think of this? Obviously, he had a very successful year in Baltimore, and now he moves on to be the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. Thoughts, feelings, what do we think of that signing?
Why? All I can say is why. Why? You had Dan Quinn there. Why take another fucking defense coordinator? Makes no fucking sense.
I would have rather had Mike McDonald than Dan Quinn.
I don't know about that.
Are
I
we
mean,
gonna
Dan Quinn was a very good defensive coordinator. I don't know about a head coach.
Are we going to rank the
Yes.
jobs?
Yes.
Okay, I think Seattle won the coaching cycle. I think they got
Out
the
of
best.
everybody.
I think Seattle won. I think this is the best hire. There's a reason he was so sought after. His defensive scheme is extremely sought after, and the players love him. A lot of the players showed up to his press conference. Because he's known a lot of them from the past. And I think this is a good little get. It'll boil down to there is who's your quarterback and who's going to be your play caller. That's going to make or break him because you got a lot of pieces. You have pieces at running back. You have a sick receiving core. So they need a quarterback and they need someone to come in and call the plays properly. And that's going to be where Mike McDonald's success hinges. But yeah, I love it. I think this is the best hire of the cycle.
And he's the youngest coach in the NFL, 36 years old. You don't like it. You would have taken Dan Quinn over him.
I think they needed to go in a different direction.
Away from the Pete Carroll-isms? Or
I mean, I would have went with either a guy that has experience or a guy like Mike McDaniels that is a offensive kind of person. And I think they needed to go with a change.
Well, wouldn't
you
that
were
have
going to change that. You know, Pete Carroll steps down. You're going to change. You're going to go in a different direction. You want to go in a different direction than Pete Carroll was. Pete Carroll was about defense, hugs and kisses, and roses for everyone.
Well,
So,
the guys out there that you're talking about
Correct.
were essentially Canales from Tampa, who's Callahan that ended up in Tennessee right off the rip,
Right.
and Ben Johnson.
The truly young offensive minds that were sought after all stayed where they were, which is Bobby Slowick, Ben Johnson, like the ones that were premium, cream of the crop, highest up on the list. Those guys all stayed where they were. So that kind of closed the door for certain opportunity. Like it closed the door. And
I was kind of surprised the OC from Baltimore didn't get a shot at that fucking Seattle job, to be honest with you. Because I thought he did a great job with Lamar. He honed him in, kept the guy healthy all year. Fucking, I thought he deserved.
Is that
be a
Todd
head coach
Monken that we're
again.
talking about right now?
Yeah.
Huh?
Todd Monken?
Yeah. I thought he deserved it over another D coordinator. It's all D coordinators all the time. What about your boy in there, Bieniemy? Why didn't he?
Bieniemy will
He
never
didn't
get a
an
head
interview.
coach.
I'm shocked he didn't get an interview. There's something up with him not. There's a
Yeah, he's
reason he
horrible
didn't get a job.
He does horrible interviews, dude. He's been like that for a decade.
Do we think that if Andy Reid were to retire, they would hire Bieniemy?
No.
Maybe to call plays. I don't know about his coach, but maybe to call plays. He's got the respect of a lot of people there. And the offense coincidentally took a shit as soon as he left, too. So
So
That is true. His play calling was a lot better.
a quick recap on all of the head coaching hires, all right? Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. Mike McDonald to the Seahawks. Antonio Pierce to the Raiders. Dave Canales to the Panthers. Brian Callahan to Tennessee. Gerard Mayo to the Patriots. Raheem Morris to Atlanta. And Dan Quinn to the Commanders. Out of those
last two that you just mentioned are a fucking farce.
what do we think is the worst head coaching hire?
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. Okay,
Dan
so
Quinn.
we're unanimous there.
Yeah, there's a reason for it though. I wonder where they went wrong with Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick, but if you're gonna hire Dan Quinn, you might as well bring in Belichick or Vrabel at that point.
So, I agreed with you because I could not for the life of me fathom why you're going to hire Dan Quinn and not Belichick.
That makes no sense.
I was reading earlier. Belichick told every team he interviewed for, unless he was president of football operations, general manager, and head coach, he would not sign a contract. And every single one, well, the two, Atlanta and Washington, were not willing to concede him full power.
And that formula doesn't work anymore.
I agree.
It doesn't work. So
Belichick is not a good GM. He is not a good GM.
Belichick, the GM, cost Belichick, the coach, his job.
Correct. I agree
Look at the
1,000%.
Patriots locker room at last year. It was just dog shit. He lost everybody.
So out of those, what do we think the best head coaching hire of the cycle is?
Mike McDonald. I thought the best and worst hire both came on Tuesday.
I think Antonio Pierce. I thought he was the best hire of the offseason, and I think he truly is the best coach out of all these
You
guys.
first before I piggyback off that. Who do you think is the best?
I think Jim Harbaugh was the best coaching hire of the offseason.
Both of you are right.
I would say I think Harbaugh is one, Pierce is two, McDonald is
between
three.
the three
Those
of
are the
us,
top three.
That's the top half. And real quick on Antonio Pierce, he's building out a fucking great staff.
Yes,
right
he
now.
is. My God.
He's building out an insanely good staff.
He's doing it smart.
And it reminds me of what Dan Campbell did. Like they started bringing in former players and well-respected guys in the league and well-respected people in football, and he's making really good decisions. So I think Antonio Pierce is a step in the right direction. Jim Harbaugh for obvious reasons. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a lot going against him is the problem, and I still don't like the fit. I still think they're in cap hell, but it goes without saying everywhere he's touched has turned to gold. And if you just stick with
let's
it,
hope he doesn't do to that front office like what he did to San Francisco.
he was
That's
right.
He wore his fucking
He
welcome
was right
out
about
there.
San Francisco, though. It was Trent Baalke who ended up getting fired anyways.
Oh.
So it worked out fine for him.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the Kingsbury hire in Vegas?
Yeah, it's outstanding. That's a very underrated move, and I would love to see what Cliff Kingsbury does with whoever they have at quarterback next year.
I agree. That one that would be my number two. I think that what Harbaugh brings with him is almost as big as his ability to coach. Because let's be real, the Chargers have always played. They're the little brother organization there. Nobody really gives a shit about the Chargers in LA. And let's be real.
Well, that's because they're in LA.
They're like the Mets. They always
because
have
they're
been-
in L.A.
Yes, but they've
When they're in
always
San
played-
Diego, is a different story.
Yes,
Because they were always better than the Rams.
But now they're always playing second fiddle to the Rams. I think that hire closes that gap a little bit for them, and I think that's a big,
The
big.
two teams
thing.
in L.A. is stupid. They need to get the
It's
fuck
stupid.
out of L.A.
It should have just been the Chargers.
Yeah.
Because this is bigger picture problem, but 60% of the Chargers season ticket holders were commuting to San Diego from Orange County, which is where the Chargers are based. So people in Orange County, not so much LA, but people in Orange County were already Charger fans. So you move in two teams. The Rams just have all the sex appeal because their owner built the stadium. So they get pushed first. Plus, the Rams were there before. The Rams were there in the 80s and 90s. And they were the better team at the time on the rise. I think that if you couple Jim Harbaugh with Justin Herbert, and then if you find a way to sustain the momentum, the Rams are going to be on the decline eventually. Stafford's going to retire. Aaron Donald's going to retire. There's still a lot to like about the Rams, and they still have Sean McVay. But Harbaugh's committed to this. And again, everywhere he's touched has turned to gold.
I agree.
Like you can't deny it. Literally everywhere he's coached, he's turned everything around. In 4 years, usually is his magic number. So I think there's potential. They're getting a new facility. The Chargers are getting a brand new operation in Irvine, and I think there's a way to move the needle with the Chargers for sure. I just like other hires. I still don't think Harbaugh's. I don't think that was his best fit, and there's just other hires that I like more than Jim Harbaugh. But yeah, I think between Antonio Pierce, Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDonald, and then Dave Canales is the fourth guy that I would put in that conversation. Like those are the top half of hires probably.
So I agree with you. You said you did not like the Raheem Morris hire because I want us to all talk about one that we don't like. Why?
Because he's been a head coach before and he shit the bed hard. And he wasn't a competitive guy, and he was out of his league. Being a head coach is out of some of these guys' league. You gotta have some kind of game plan. Raheem Morris, the first time he was in, he tried to surround himself with good coordinators, and it didn't work out for him. And I don't know if he's learned from then till now, but I just don't agree with it. Dan Quinn, what are you going to say about Dan Quinn? Dan Quinn needs to just be a defensive coordinator and keep it at that. He's not a head coach.
Good D coordinator, probably not well.
He's not a head coach.
I'll give him a little credit for what he did in Atlanta, but there's a reason he got fired. And I don't, again, like the Commanders needed like a special. They needed sex appeal. They needed Jim Harbaugh. They needed Ben Johnson. They needed Bobby Slowick. They needed something that made sense, and I don't think they got that. I think it's going to be it's imperative that they get a good play caller. Imperative. And is Bieniemy gone from there?
I don't know who his OC is.
It might end up being Bieniemy
or not.
Yeah, but I'll give you my bad hire, and it's gonna be eyebrow raising for you. It's Gerard Mayo.
We're in agreement.
He could be good, and I could be completely wrong about this. I just thought that was really lazy to promote from within. I thought it was very like you have a chance to finally get a new voice in that organization after 25 years, and it's gonna be different. There's gonna be at least a little different, but there's also the chance that there's a little bit of more of the same. And his only mindset is the New England mindset. It's like Matt Patricia essentially. That's all they knew. So you can't tell me that the Belichick Patriot way influence isn't going to be in there. And I thought that was a prime.
Got to give him a shot. We don't know.
I guess, yeah, you could always redo it. You can always redo it down the road. They're already pretty bad. They're already at rock bottom. But hey, I do like former players. I think former players have
They're
worked
about to get
out.
a quarterback in this draft coming. So,
I don't know that and all the mocks I've seen. In all of the mocks I've seen, that's where Marvin Harrison's going to end up in every single mock draft that I've seen. Isn't that crazy? I haven't seen Drake May there. I haven't seen Caleb Williams there. I haven't seen Jaden Daniels. Not one guy.
Yeah.
Which I think is crazy.
I hate the Gerard Mayo hiring for one reason only. Mike Vrabel was out there. And if you're going to take that, you're going to take a defensive-minded guy who's a Belichick heir apparent who follows that Patriot philosophy. You go get the guy who's proven already versus hiring. You bring in Vrabel and you put Gerard Mayo as your
right now.
defensive
I'm going to tell you all this right now. Mike Vrabel will be a coach next year. again.
I agree 100%.
and Belichick as well.
Again, you're going to see quite a few guys shit the bed hard coming up this year. And I don't know how long the leash is for some of these guys, but your Dan Quinns and your other jamokes out there, they're going to all be out of a fucking job. Watch.
So jumping ship here and going to coordinators. Eric Bieniemy is still the offensive coordinator in Washington. They did not relieve him of his duty like they did most of the other guys. Raiders offensive coordinator, obviously Cliff Kingsbury. My favorite hire of this entire coaching cycle, head coaches included, the Pittsburgh Steelers hired a new offensive coordinator. None other than my very own Arthur Smith. And I'm not going to lie. I thought about this. If you already have a dysfunctional offense, right, which Pittsburgh pretty much had all year, why not bring in the most dysfunctional play caller in the entire league whose offense had no identity and no clue what they were doing and couldn't develop talent?
That's Dennis Allen in New Orleans.
Arthur Smith is a very close second then if you want to argue it. And bring in Arthur Smith as your offensive coordinator. Could not believe it of all places that Mike Tomlin's going to work with. Maybe that's what he needs, is somebody like Mike Tomlin to keep him in check.
In fairness, Arthur Smith got his job in Atlanta for a reason. And I thought in real time, I think that was the same hiring cycle as Dan Campbell, if I remember correctly. I thought in real time that was going to be at least a decent hire because of what he did in Tennessee. He did really good stuff with Ryan Tannehill, and he did really good stuff with the run game. I think it's odd from an Arthur Smith standpoint more than I think it's odd from a Steelers standpoint, because why would you want to go somewhere with no quarterback? That's what just cost you your year this year. So, like I don't understand. Like you're not gonna resurrect Mason Rudolph. You're not gonna resurrect what's his face, Kenny Pickett. You're not gonna be the one to do that because you couldn't do it with whatever you had between Marcus Mariota and Taylor Heineke and
where do we think Desmond Ritter ends up?
Ritter.
Desmond Ritter's got to find a new home now, probably.
Desmond Ritter will be selling fucking popcorn and peanuts in the stand.
Eagles hired Kellen Moore as their new offensive coordinator.
I never understood the Kellen Moore hype. I don't know what he ever did. He's been fired from 2 places, and he had like very lackluster offenses at both places.
Well, he was the fall guy in Dallas.
But he didn't do anything still.
He's the fall guy in Dallas, dude. You know that. Fuck. Are you kidding me? You know who should have got fired in Dallas. We gonna go there? We gonna fucking go there right now? Who should have got fired in Dallas?
Kellen Moore goes back.
Who should have got fired the last 3 years in Dallas?
McCarthy, and I agree. But Kellen Moore goes back to Jason Garrett. That was a Jason Garrett hire.
Okay.
So like their offenses were still bad, in my opinion.
The Falcons' new offensive coordinator is former Rams passing game coordinator Zach Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the hottest names in the coordinator market. And I know you guys are low on Raheem Morris. I am not. He's respected. They need a quarterback.
I'm not as low. I'm lower on Gerard Mayo than Raheem Morris.
Yeah, same.
Personally. I mean, I don't.
The
Gerard Mayo thing is not going to work. And I just have a gut feeling on it.
You don't want to be the guy after the guy.
Yes, never.
And it never works out. It's never.
Listen, the Raheem Morris thing is not going to work. The guys love him and everything, dude, but he can't surround himself with the right people. That's what happened to him the first time because he didn't surround himself with the right people.
Well, Zach Robinson's a right person. I think Zach Robinson is a great hire for them, and that's a good start.
The Patriots brought in Browns offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt to be their new offensive coordinator.
The former quarterback, Alex Van Pelt?
Yes.
He's a fucking, really?
Yep. Huh. Former Kansas City Chief and Buffalo Bill quarterback Alex Van Pelt.
Interesting.
We'll
see.
Other one, Bears brought in Shane Waldron. Do we know anything about Shane Waldron? Anything there? Obviously, Bills kept Joe Brady.
Okay.
I know you don't like that.
Whatever, dude. As long as he stays there, they'll get bounced every year. Go ahead.
I wonder how you feel about this one.
Go ahead.
The Browns replaced Van Pelt with Ken Dorsey.
There you go. There you go. He's been fired out of every place he's been.
I personally don't think Ken Dorsey's as bad as Uncle Sam thinks. I think Josh Allen and
really, dude,
and all the execution was more the problem. Because when Ken Dorsey first got there, was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And
Till
yeah,
when?
it's been downhill
Till they
ever since.
drafted Josh Allen. He was
No,
good
no,
till
no.
then?
He took
Oh.
over. He took over for the last offensive coordinator.
Right. Isn't it
And they
kind
had
of
a-
funny how all these offensive coordinators are losing their fucking jobs?
Well, that's
over
what I'm
here?
saying. Is Josh
Yeah.
Allen might be the? I think.
think
I
that's
think
the
it's
reason?
whatever.
Is that the fucking bottom line there?
We'll
Every
find
time
out.
somebody goes there, Josh Allen's your quarterback, you're gonna get fired
We'll find out.
because he's fucking dog shit.
Dave Canales brought with him Brad Idzik
Okay.
to be offensive coordinator. He is the Buccaneers wide receivers coach.
Well, he had a good group to coach there. I give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, and he kept Jero Avero too, which is a massive. Who did a really good job for them down the stretch. Who was interviewing for other jobs, including he interviewed for the Panthers job, and he's really well respected. He's going to be a head coach eventually, and good things in Carolina, I think.
So I guess Tampa wanted to promote this Idzik guy,
Yeah.
but he jumped ship. So Tampa ended up with Liam Cohen.
He's a Rams guy, if I remember correctly, right?
Well,
He was from
he was
the
offensive
Rams
coordinator
of
for the Rams in
Kentucky,
2022,
and then Kentucky as well.
and then he was the Kentucky offensive coordinator last year, University of Kentucky.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he goes back with Baker from 2 years ago.
Yes, he was with the Rams in 2022, with the Rams in 2020. He's jumped back and forth between the Rams and Kentucky a few times.
Imagine going from L.A. to fucking to Lexington, Kentucky, and back over a 4-year span.
I'm sure he's making good money. It doesn't matter. I'd do the same fucking thing. I'd be jumping every fucking schooler as
So the Titans, I guess this was much more of a splash than any of us thought. They hired former Jaguars passing game coordinator Nick Holes.
okay.
Somehow this guy was more coveted than we let on to believe. Everybody thinks that this one was just an absolute home run hire for Brian Callahan in Tennessee. After seeing Jacksonville's passing game this year, I don't know how it really could have been, because I thought that's one of the biggest letdowns.
I
there
thought
was.
that's where they were awful offensively.
I agree with you guys.
I don't, but I guess this was everybody's talking about how great the staff he's put together so far.
Well, there's another guy on his staff that's making waves right now on Callahan's staff.
Well, let's move on to defensive coordinators then. We'll start there. Denard Wilson.
No. It's his offensive line coach.
Ooh. Do you have a name?
Yeah, his father.
He hired his dad as his offensive line coach.
Yeah, and the Browns made a full court press. He's the reason the Browns offensive line turned around over the last couple years. And the Browns made a full court press to keep him, and they couldn't say no because he was going to work with his son. So one of the worst offensive line units last year got one of the best offensive line coaches in football, and that's been a pretty heralded hire.
Imagine working for your son. It's
As long as he ain't a dumbass, yeah, why
True.
not?
The Eagles hired defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, and obviously we've talked about this one a little bit. You're not happy about it.
Who?
You.
Yeah, I am.
I thought you didn't like
Listen,
it.
I'd rather have
originally.
fucking Fangio than fucking fat fuck. Are you serious, dude? Come on.
Where did Brandon Staley get a
Listen,
job yet or no?
Fangio
He did not.
has a lot of experience, dude.
What about the Packers?
By the way, he's interviewing for a job.
Who?
Staley?
Staley.
Yeah.
No,
Staley
the Packers
got
went in a
hurt.
different direction. He
As a DC.
he interviewed with the Packers as DC, and they said that they're going in a different direction. They hired Jeff Halfley.
Okay.
He's the guy from Boston College.
Yes, he is.
Which, by the way, he's Boston College's head coach.
Yep.
And there's now a rumor that the new offensive coordinator at Ohio State, Bill O'Brien, is going to leave after being there for a month to go take the Boston College head coaching job. He's the #1 candidate to replace Halfley,
Good for Bill O'Brien.
which I think is hilarious.
Jaguars, Ryan Nielsen, defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Neil's not really moving over here.
We're not thrilled about that. Don't
I don't know
care.
who he is.
The Ravens hired Zach Orr.
I believe he was their DB's coach.
Yes.
They promoted from within there.
See, that one to me is kind of surprising. He's only 31 years old. And he was their inside linebackers coach before they promoted him.
Okay.
I feel like you kind of wanted a guy with more experience when you have that good of a defense.
when you're in that organization, though, you kind of see how things are done. So that doesn't surprise me that a team that's very good defensively will just hire within, because these guys are all part of the system. They all work together. So it's not like they don't know what the other guy's doing. You know what I mean?
The Rams hired Chris Shula as their defensive coordinator.
Don Shula's boy?
His grandson.
Don Shula's grandson.
Huh.
Figured you would like that one.
Well, I mean, I don't know what his fucking grandson. I don't know what he knows.
They hired from within as well. He was the pass rush coordinator.
Okay.
He has prior coaching experience at John Carroll University as their defensive coordinator.
Hey.
Okay. And how did John Carroll do underneath him?
I don't know.
Never heard of
Shout
fucking
out
John
John
Carroll
Carroll.
University. I couldn't even tell you where the fuck that's at. Okay.
I'm sure my grandfather went.
Chargers hired defensive coordinator Jesse Minter.
Have they officially hired him yet, though?
Officially hired. Officially hired. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that was inevitable. And thank you, Jesse, for everything you did in Ann Arbor. I hope you. That's a
They're
guy.
losing everybody there in Ann Arbor,
Oh,
dude.
geez.
I think he's
You
going to be
fucking
a head
cleaning
coach
house
one
over
day.
there, bud. Not looking good. Might win 5 games this year.
I bet they win 9 or 10.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
I'm not
I don't
worried.
think so.
Doesn't matter. They have a national championship.
I don't fucking think so, bud. What's his name? We're doing it for you, coach. What the fuck is that guy's name?
Sharon Moore.
Sharon Moore. Good luck with that. That guy fucking couldn't coach his way out of a paper
Did we
bag.
ever discuss the Sharon Moore hiring? Or do you
No.
not feel like dealing with that?
I mean, I always just assumed it was going to be Sharon Moore. He's already beat Ohio State. It's what better?
What the fuck? He didn't do anything. Them
what
guys were
better
on
job-
autopilot.
What better
Are you
job?
fucking serious?
What better job?
It will be next season.
What better coach?
Yeah,
to
but they've
hire?
lost half their guys.
Michigan was
dude.
looking for years for a coach to beat Ohio State, and they brought in a coach that's already beat Ohio State.
Yeah, they were on autopilot.
They lose half their guys every year over there, just so you know.
I'm sorry?
They lose half of their guys every year over
Oh,
there,
they-
and then they're still here year after
Not like
year.
they are when Harbaugh's gone, bud. They're all
Jess-
going to enter the
Us,
portal.
Jesse Minter.
They'll all be gone before spring here. Watch.
No one's entered the portal.
Watch. You'll see.
Also, Mike Zimmer is interviewing for the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator.
Of course.
I don't have a problem with
All they do is just turn back time. And
that. Just regurgitate all
That's
these
all
old
they
guys.
fucking do. We're going to bring in all the old NFC North coaches, and we're going to turn back time. Who's next? Who's going to be their offensive coordinator now?
Phil Parcells.
Who's the guy from the Bears? Brian Tressman? They going to go get Brian Tressman?
Also, and some other news. Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow this morning. So it's officially spring
The groundhog.
in like 2 weeks.
Whatever.
Today's Groundhog Day. You didn't know that?
No, I don't give a fuck.
The rat didn't see its shadow. That's a big deal. It's springtime now. Obviously next week we're gonna get this. We have a big game to talk about.
I got, what's his name?
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah, he lives under my deck at my house.
Does he?
I got a big old fucking groundhog right by my house.
You should fucking grab him
Fucker's
out.
probably about this big.
You should grab him out from under there and see if he can see its shadow.
I want to put a bullet in him, but your Aunt Laura.
Oh,
told
you
me
don't
I
want to.
can't.
Why would you kill the groundhog?
Listen, I need to practice with my little fucking laser fucking thing on my pistol. Just point, put the red dot on him. Good night.
There's one other piece of news that I wanted to talk about. Rest in peace to Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
R.I.P..
Any dinner plans tonight?
I'm shook right now about Carl Weathers.
Oh,
Wasn't that old? Well, how old was he?
76.
70, what?
76.
76. Huh.
Sad. He was still.
What was wrong with
actively-
him?
Actively doing stuff. I don't think it's come out yet.
What do you have, COVID? Huh? What happened to him?
I don't think it's come
COVID?
out yet.
Listen,
you have any dinner plans tonight or no?
No, I just want to leave.
Why?
I don't want to talk about
His family has issued a statement saying that he died peacefully in his sleep.
Oh, that's, you know what?
Was
He's
he-
a fucking good actor. Give him a lot of credit, dude.
Was he sick?
That fucking guy, how much money he make off of being a character that died in the third fucking movie? How much money did he make at being fucking Apollo Creed?
So here's the thing. every generation's gonna know him from something different. You're gonna know him from Rocky. I don't know him from Rocky.
Action Jackson.
You don't know him from.
On the contrary.
No.
You're not.
You know he played
Action
for the Raiders.
Jackson.
Are you not a big
Yes, I
Rocky
do.
Yeah,
guy?
I did know that.
Action Jackson.
I know him from Happy Gilmore.
Oh, it's the guy
Okay.
who got his arm bit off.
Chubbs.
It's Chubb.
Yeah.
And then the next generation mostly knows him from The Mandalorian.
Don't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know what the
and he
Mandalorian
had
is.
like a key role in The Mandalorian.
Only
too.
successful
Grandma
Disney
Gigi's Mandalorian.
production outside of Marvel Endgame. So
I don't know what all that is.
What does that mean?
You're
Disney's
spewing
Disney's
over there.
literally
It's
this.
in the shit.
Listen,
haven't made
Listen,
a
I know him as Dylan.
Single good.
He was
shit.
Dylan. And
Anyway.
Predator.
He was.
He was Dylan. Don't you remember?
He was.
Predator.
The most iconic handshake in cinema. What's wrong? You pushing too many pencils? You don't remember that?
I don't know what the fuck.
You don't
you're
even know what I'm
talking
talking
Every
about.
time you
No, I
see a
don't.
Most
graphic of
iconic
a-
handshake
Yeah.
in fucking in the movies, and you don't know.
Dude.
Was him and Arnold
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
smacking hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Arnold's giving them the little ee. What's wrong? You pushing too many pencils, pussy?
Anyways, do you have
Not
any?
only that, he just tells him to keep the chopper, gets his arms blown off, and then gets fucking stabbed up into the air and harpooned.
That's mainly what.
You don't remember? Predator. R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
One of the. It's probably the best Predator movie.
Any dinner plans tonight?
No, I gotta figure that out.
They're all good.
You any dinner plans tonight?
I'm gonna eat
Game
a fucking
night.
few
Game night.
Game night.
What are you guys
What
playing?
What games are you playing?
some chicken breast and-
What?
Joker.
with no skin on it.
And I don't know. It's my
Some fucking
grandmother's
salt,
game.
pepper.
I don't know. Yes, it's not very popular.
Who's coming for game night?
Joseph and Monica.
Very nice. Any dinner plans?
No,
You want to leave?
no.
You don't want to leave.
What do you mean?
I'm
I'm just waiting to fucking finish this shit. Come on.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok.
By
at
the
Tip
way,
Balls
when are we
Pod-
coming back?
Monday. We have a
Monday.
fucking Super Bowl to talk about this week. What are you talking
We
about?
had to talk about the Super Bowl.
Fuck yeah, we do.
I don't want to talk about the Super Bowl. I'm not interested.
You were the
in it.
one who was blowing
I got-
Patty Mahomes here
listen,
the other day.
I got no use for the Super Bowl this year.
I think it's gonna be a good game.
You were.
As much as use as I have for the Pro Bowl, that's about as much as I have for the Super Bowl.
do you understand the
In
last?
fact, after this year,
Dude,
I think I'm retiring from
so-
football.
Do you understand?
I'm
All of
retiring.
Monday's show, you deep throated Travis Kelsey. And now today you don't
I
care
don't
about
like
it.
Travis Kelsey. I don't like Taylor Swift. I don't like Pat Mahomes. I don't like any of them motherfuckers.
You don't like Patty Mahomes?
Huh?
All you did
No,
on
Patty
Monday was
Mahomes?
talk about how great they all are.
Listen. I don't like any of them, dude. I don't like none of them. I don't even like the NFL anymore. I don't even want to do this anymore.
He does this every year.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you are listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, check us out on YouTube. Remember to click subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified when we go live Monday and Friday next week between 4:30 and 5 because it's the Super Bowl. So then you'll get your reprieve here pretty soon.
Oh, I can't
Thank you so
wait.
much for listening. You guys will hear from us on Monday.